our private spaces has improved significantly, not across, and I would say across the India as well. If you go to any smaller cities, you will find the cafes that you can compare to the cafes in New York. Restaurants, and I think Shivani also have reported in the past, the kind of the private spaces that are being built and the kind of, but the public infrastructure is not keeping up. Uh, and when we think about urban, we know a lot of money has been invested. We know that it's not sufficient, but still, is those money are those money kind of leading to better outcomes? So I will start with one question for each of the panelists. Two questions actually. One is what's going well, and you will look back over last kind of 10-15 years, what going well in urban infrastructure, and what are the challenges that you see from your vantage point? We have four people who are coming from very different contexts and perspective. So I will first start with person who have been kind of mayor of the city, who have been decision maker, elected representative. I will over to you, Bina. How do you see what is the in last 10-15 years? What are the positives that are seeing in urban infrastructure, and what is the one challenge that you see? Yeah, over to you.
The most positive thing is we have enough funds. Both the Central Finance Commission and the State Finance Commission and budgeting and challenge funds are now flowing to the urban areas too, especially in Kerala. They have started looking at the urban spaces very seriously. That's one thing. Another is we have changed from the old model of constructions. Like the buildings will have the same light yellow and maroon color paints, and they'll be just like matchboxes, as the common people say. Now we have architects and our own engineers take pains to see that each building has its own identity, like they spend some time on design. That's one thing. And more facilities are provided now, especially clean toilets and the slopes, and even considering the age friendly people, these kind of arrangements are there in the building, and that's going well. And people's criticism that the social auditing is there, though it is not strictly formally done, but people will, especially in the papers, they will write in what all way it's good and what all way it's not that good. So, like, these are all the things that are going well. When you think of the challenges, um, one is tied funds. For you have to spend this much of, or this much percentage to this much to the roads or non-roads. Like they always give us the, even in the state wise, we cannot spend more than 40% on roads and non-roads or constructions. At the same time, MLAs are given funds and they have their own, they have their own discretion to select whichever roads are to be tarred properly. Other thing is, as we all know, in Kerala and other monsoon affected areas, is highly unpredictable. The weather, the climate, all have changed. And the kind of roads that we have been used to is the tarring one. Tarring also has changed, the mixing and different types of tarring roads are there. And it is less expensive, that's what the engineers say. And we prefer on the slopey areas, we sometimes prefer more than tar road. We prefer the interlock system or the concrete roads. But people are not happy with the concrete road. They say it will become very slippery. They, at the same time, they agree for the interlock system. And in some areas, people say we want only tarred roads, not interlock. I don't know why they do different so much in their opinion about constructing a road in a particular terrain. So that's another challenge. And as I said, for the corporation or for the USBs, what happens? You have to complete the work within the given time and in 1 year. In April or May, you start the work. That is in the beginning of the financial year, and the financial year ends in March. And it is very difficult these days, especially in the case of making roads, to finish it or to complete it within the prescribed time. Another lapse is once they take the tender, they have a gap. They can avail a gap of 6 months to start the work, and that I think is to be reduced, unless, as we discussed earlier, there are so much of challenge through weather or some other natural calamity or something. Otherwise, this 6 months gap to start the work should be reduced to 3 months. Otherwise, they'll wait for the 6 months to be over. Not all of them, but a few of them, because they want to do the work in a hurry towards the end of the financial year.
I will go straight away to Miss Sivani. What do you see from your vantage point? You have been reporting on urban issues for long.
Yeah,
Uh,
so
what,
I
what,
can
what, and yeah,
please
please
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Please go ahead.
So I can speak for the citizens because that's where I stand. I'm sort of an interface between the citizens and the officials and whatever is going on in the administrative circles. So I see a lot of improvement in big ticket infrastructure, whether it's expressways, whether it's the metro, airports. We are aiming to be world class, and we're quite there. Even the maintenance is not a problem there. But when it comes to basic civic infrastructure, I think we have a problem. And this is a very big problem because this directly affects your quality of life. So basic masonry like work, like, pavements, we still haven't got them right. I mean, I don't understand why we can't, but we've not got them right. It's no brainer that we need utility ducts because there is this constant road cutting. You build and then you dig, and the cycle just continues. It's unending. So we've not figured out our subterranean infrastructure. We have no plans, we have no thought. We're planning to go big on tunnels and elevated roads and all this, but when it comes to understanding the city, as far as how the utilities are laid, I mean, we don't really have a good sense of what we have. Institutionally, I think we're still very weak. There are multiple jurisdictions. There are silos. We've not made efforts to have coordinating bodies. We come up with these plans. We have the master plan, we have the climate action plan, heat action plan, but nobody really knows where those plans sit. So that is a very big problem I see, and we don't seem to have an answer for it. Uh, Although we know that UMTA is to be created for transport coordination, we've actually not made any effort, or if, I mean, we don't even have any successful examples as far as India goes. And this was something which was told to us in the national urban transport policy back in 2006. So we've been talking about it, but we have not been able to create these kind of structures. uh, this is essentially, the problem is, we do have funds, but we don't have the capacities to projectize, to understand what is actually required. Our knowledge is still very, very outdated. We do not have the professional input that is required. No, I mean, civil engineers have a good idea, but a city needs more than a civil engineer's perspective. We still do not have urban designers. We still do not have people who can, understand things. And I mean, we want to be world class, but we don't have the systems to create that world class infrastructure. And the last thing is there is still very little civic engagement. In fact, there has been, if you see, there's been a lot of disassociation that has happened. Privatization of services wherever you're not getting. I mean, there is this one group of people who can afford private, so they can afford to buy an air purifier because the land air is bad outside. I mean, if the road is not walkable, they would take a car to very short commutes. The same with gated communities. They have their own parks, they have their own infrastructure to sustain them, and they don't really wait for the government to give them something which, so they've sort of given up. And then there is a class which has to use this infrastructure, and there is a certain fatalism about it. It's like, okay, this is there, not very good, but this is what we have to make do with. So this is
Thank you.
pretty
Thank you
much,
so
yeah.
much. Yeah, thank you so much for kind of covering very important some of the issues. We do agree that our big ticket infrastructure we are getting day and day better. But a smaller infrastructure, there is where I think we are failing as a per country and across the. It's not that some areas are doing really better and others are not. It's overall, I think, and great points on kind of the multiple jurisdiction, the planning itself, and the civic participation. I will come back on some of these points on the next round. Before that, I want directly go to Mr. Ganesh. Uh, you have been on the ground and you have been delivering some of the projects on ground. What are the challenges that you face, and from your vantage point? Over to you, Mr. Kamath.
Hello, hi. Like the initially the madam said, no, that we are getting now central and state funds. As a contractor, we are getting lot of projects. But the reality here, see, what is happening is 2 points. I just want to say from government point of view, just like a view from a contractor side. The continuity, the people like who will be like coordinating from the government side, no, the engineers or executive engineers, chief engineers, if at all they tag to one project from the start to end, if they are there, no, it will be really helpful for the project. The frequent changes in between, no, which is really causing a biggest challenge for the contractors as well as for the project. The projects majorly suffer due to the constant changes, the people who coordinate from the government side. And apart from that, yes, when it comes to the public, because we have been working in the urban areas for quite a long year. So yes, we also need a support from the public, because see, we want the infrastructure to develop, but we can't build our city outside. Wherever we have existing city only, we need to develop. So obviously, we are going to dig the roads which is existingly used by the public as well as the residents, maybe in front of their house or in front of their commercial places. So definitely at those point of time, really we need a cooperation from the civic, the basically the people also from the thing. And at the same time, even our contractor should take a responsibility to complete the things on time, so that even they are not disturbed much. And even from government point to government side, no, they should, even before launching any project, at least some sort of a meeting should be conducted, which earlier when we used to do the tender sure, the meeting was to happen where the public people will involve, so that they will be given a knowledge about the what is going to happen, what project is going to take off, when it is going to start, when it is going to end. At least people are aware of it. Or else suddenly happens that somebody will come, dig the road, and they start the work, they will not have any idea. So these things can be avoided, so that speedy construction as well as the better infrastructure built.
Thank you, Mr. Kamath. Just I want to share one my example. One near my home, there is a metro station that is being constructed. It has been going on for last 4 years now. Still, we don't know
Yes,
when we will get over. Each
yes.
day I have to take a guess whether the lane would be open today. So each morning they can close that lane. Now I need to kind of go into and take another U-turn 4 kilometers later. Nobody informs, nobody tells. One day it will be open, next day it will be closed. You never know. So this is, I think, the on the ground kind of people participation you talked about. Shivani also talked about how do we kind of think about people itself. I will come back on this.
Just to add,
Will yes.
just to add here, the best way is using the social media, because now people are, everybody is active in social media. So definitely government can take some, like some steps wherein like they can at least like daily updates. So this is happening here because of this reason. It may be shut down for a 1 month or 15 days, whatever it is. If that happens, no, it will be really useful for the public.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Sinha, over to you. So, what are the progresses that you are seeing and some of the challenges?
Thank you very much, Prabhat. I think a lot of very important points have been made by everyone. I would only like to say, and again, I specifically from the perspective of the precarity of living in urban slums. I raise this because ultimately all infrastructure has to lead to the improvement of quality of lives. Are we missing something there? While it is true that a lot of new infrastructure is world class, a lot of it is outstanding, the metros, the highways, so many of them. But in terms of the lives of citizens on the margin, especially living in the urban slums, I wrote recently for the Hindu Business Line 3-4 days ago, And we really, when it was, of course, this was coverage of certain localities in the field. And this was something which was, we got public policy students to actually go to the field and see. And the challenge at the urban last mile, we felt, was an amalgam of weak institutional design, fragmented accountability, and the absence of meaningful community engagement. And we said this because this is what the students reported back. When I look at the challenges, while it is true that many cities have really done well, I remember the Sarvekshan report. I rang up the 10 municipal commissioners of the top 10 cities. What do you think made the difference? Almost all of them, without fail, said community participation. But then, in our approach to infrastructure over the last 20, 25 years in urban areas, I think the involvement of the community is not of the order that it ought to be. And there is an institutional challenge here. And that institutional challenge is that an urban ward is a very large area, very large number of people in municipal corporations, for example, large ones. Community action or the decentralized community action at that level becomes very difficult. While there is a notion of the ward sabha, but their activities or the activism or their ability to take decisions is still limited. So institutionally, I have always felt that urban areas need elected leaders at Basti level. If we have elected leaders at Basti level, there will be far more accountability to a lot of interventions that we make. Because ultimately you can do whether it is any of the infrastructure that we create for drinking water, drainage, so many of these, the maintenance is the essence of it. If we are not able to make, or the utilization of that space, for example, we find even in schools, new buildings are easier to construct than maintain old ones. So clearly, I think there is a case for fixing the highway in such a manner that the efficiency of spend improves. And one of the ways of doing is what I always refer to as collaborative governance, where citizens, society, state, and the market all really come together to find solutions with decision-making roles. So I think we need to fix the highway of development in urban areas, because I think a lot is being done. Lot of it has created very good infrastructure. But for us to be able to make the most efficient use of what we spend, all the assessments from the JNURM and onwards have always indicated that many a time a lot of good infrastructure is not utilized to the extent that it ought to be, or not maintained the manner in which it should be. Now, these are challenges which can only be addressed through collaborative governance and decentralized community action. Untied financial resources at the last mile. When the mayor from Kerala was speaking in Bini, it was very clear that some of those issues which they have resolved in terms of devolution, in terms of institutions, it does make a difference. Otherwise, what happens is, in a particular area, for example, if there is no water supply and you're sending tankers there, the timing of the tanker is not a steady, well-known one for everybody. So imagine the plight of women who come and wait the whole day only to collect water. The expenditure is being made. The tankers are going there for sure. But when they will go, that calendar, that event is not such a... So I think some of these challenges, these are not high cost items, these are high governance items. And for doing that, you need institutional reforms, because any amount of new schemes works better only if you understand the institution of it. What are those arrangements which are likely to help us to deliver better? I'm a great believer that a lot of our dreams of Viksit Bharat hinges on our ability to provide quality of lives to the workmen who come to cities in search of work. To do so, we will need institutional rectification of some of these issues. The spend will be far more effective and efficient if we are able to connect with communities at the local level, if we are able to make them partners in the governance of programs at the cutting edge level, if we are able to provide untied finances for local level initiatives on a much larger scale. The lessons from the rural areas, especially where it came to Panchayati Raj institutions and self-help groups of women, the Rural Livelihood Mission working together, wherever the PRI SHG works together, we have a completely different paradigm of cooperation, collaboration, and working together. So I think we need to work towards that, because a lot of our investments will yield exponential results if we are able to set our pipeline, if we are able to fix the highway of development, so to say, through the institutional changes, financial devolution, and some of the other issues that I just mentioned in the little while. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think you covered, I think, very important point of collaborative governance, and I will kind of back this up with what Shivani said about partnership and people's involvement as well. So I think the next, I think I will next question to Miss Beena, because she has been there at the planning. How does city happen in the planning? Although we know we are a very large country, an example from Kozhikode might not be the kind of can be taken for entire country, but at least I want our the people who have joined to understand a flavor of how does planning happen and where does the citizen sit in the planning as well. And Miss Philip, you also talk about the tight grant and how does tight grant may limit your planning ability at the kind of as a elected representative as well. It will be great to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah, over to you, Miss Philip.
Thank you, Prabhat. I don't know whether you have heard of what we did this year. And there is something called Janaagraha Sutrana, People's Planning in Kerala. It has been going for the more than 25 years in Kerala. And this year, what we did was, while I was in 2025, as you all expected, people's collaboration. We invited people as well as experts in different fields, like for health and for construction, for public works, and for welfare. All these we had separate sessions, and we invited people and the experts in the field. So the experts presented very seriously with their work. They presented papers about what the corporation should do next year, planning next year. So people's involvement are there. And there were common people sitting in the audience. They raised their own doubts and they were all clarified. So when we invite the very next day, large number of people came for that program. Where, what we discussed the previous day, altogether they put put into the form of a paper and presented before the larger audience. There again, we had so many questions and doubts, which we could clarify them, which we could answer them in a clear way. And so planning for 26-27 was easier than planning for 24-25. So we had collaboration and people's participation also. And it was a very successful, seminar that we conducted the previous year before the People's Planning or Janaagraha Asutana Padhati Avishkarana. Dig only once. That should be our motto for building that kind of tunnels. Our engineers were telling me, ma'am, 3 meter into 3 meter into 3 meter. That kind of a tunnel or a particular kind of, that, what do you call it? Not tunnel, we call it a duct, right? Through that duct, water and current and phone and all other facilities should go. There should be enough space. So you need, when the road is constructed, this should not be disturbed. Otherwise, what happens? We complete a very good road, a finished road. Then next month comes the water authority to cut it. And their restoration is very poor. There should be some principles on restoration, or the restoration part should be entrusted with a particular agency. Is a water authority doing the restoration, KSEB doing the restoration, PWD, of course, they have enough men and material. So they're doing the thing, and these, what I might say, all these phone people, they are doing so many cable laying, and all these should be through through that duct only. That can make our cities beautiful, and it will be very useful for people and our expense, as we said, our fiscal health. A large amount of the money that we spend can be cut short. That's one thing that we all have to do something regarding that.
Do you think do you think it's
Anything
just a
else?
backup question on this? Because right now, the roads in the city are controlled by many departments. And nobody knows who controls which roads. If you ask, oh, no, we don't. Even if municipality is repairing that road, and if you go look, we don't own that report. We don't own that road. We don't have power to give permissions. Do you think what needs to be done there, and also the interagency coordinations? Uh, what are the things that can be done? Is kind of should all city roads be given, even if it
Uh,
is owned by 10 different organizations? The city is responsible for those roads and city gives the power for cutting or anything. Do you think some kind of this solution is feasible, or it's very difficult to implement?
yeah, we have only two agencies. One is corporation and the other is PWD. PWD can build a road which is in the asset register of the corporation. See, but we cannot build a PWD road. At the same time, we are in charge of cleaning the drains, right? So, though the road is a part of PWD, if there is an issue during flood or any other issue for that matter, some of the the slabs will be destroyed or destructed, or they have perished and fallen down, and such a big what I might say drain will be there. We don't wait for the PWD to do the work. We take the initiative to see that people can walk on the drain very comfortably and safely. That's what we do there. That's an understanding between PWD and corporation so far. So that's what we do. So sometimes the MLAs, as I told you, they have their own funds and they'll be doing the work, the roads which are in the asset register of the corporation. So we do get very good roads. That way we have managed. I mean, breaking or starting the digging up process is by the different agencies. They are supposed to restore the road in the old condition, but which they won't do at all. So that's it's a big issue for the people to walk. And corporation will say they have to give us the money and only then we'll start the work. And they will say we have to wait, we will do the work, but we have to have the tender is not taken up by the contractors. Like it is like passing the ball. Everybody tries to pass the ball. I mean, but corporation is responsible. People will complain only to corporation. They don't know PWD. They don't know water authority. They don't know KSCB. They don't think that only the corporation should do the work. So that's why we also many times receive so much of blame because of the lapse on the part of the other agencies. That's what I tell you. Everywhere in the city, there should be a mandate.
Uh, with that, I will come to Shivani. Shivani, do you think there is a plan in? It's great to see that Kozhikode, and I have visited some cities in Kerala as well. In rural, I have seen in many places, and Mr. Sinha also pointed out in PRIs, the Gram Panchayat Development Plan, greater community participation. Although we know urban, the participation is kind of, we know this is a larger urban area, people are pretty busy with their lives. Urban life is also a hard life. It's not not say hard life, but busy life. Do you think our cities have a plan? And
No, I don't think, or even if we have plans, they're mostly on paper. Delhi, for instance, has had a long history of master planning. We got our first master plan back in 1962. And now we are in the process of clearing the master plan for Delhi, which is like criminally late, I would say. But we make these master plans, 20-year horizon planning, and then it comes down to zonal planning. So we get a very good overview of what the city should be. But when it comes to implementation, there is a very, very big gap because we don't have local area planning. Uh, that is also to do with the 74th Amendment. We know that planning is not a function which is given to the municipalities. And essentially, municipalities have to make, they have to implement the plan because they work on the ground. Then, even if we have those plans, very fancy plans, the 20-year period is, way too long to say take into account the changing realities, and this is essentially what happened in Delhi's case. There is also very little civic participation, and that sort of is linked to your formulation of local area plans, because that is where also the accountability will come. If you get the elected representatives involved in planning, they will be answerable. Okay. So that is, that is something which should be there, and it hadn't happened. Are we hoping that it will happen in the next master plan? So
Yeah.
so all the gaps that you see are actually because, I mean, there are these connections are not very well maintained, defined, or the kind of empowerment that needs to be given to local agencies, that has not happened. uh, we make plans, but we don't have a financial plan. I mean, we don't tell the city, municipalities, or the administration on how these plans are to be implemented. It's left to, a department, or, a certain, mostly it's the urban development department, to see, which plan will fit in Amrut, or which plan will fit, in SBM, and, that is where they do all the tweaking and all, and, try to get funds. So there are funds available, but there is a problem, as I say, in projectizing, in seeing where the fund is actually required. There are constraints as well. I mean, even municipalities that we have in Delhi, the Delhi Municipal Corporation is fund, I mean, cash strapped. So we've not worked out ways in which we can, uh, get more revenue, or look at, our own source revenue. So all these things need to be tied up. I mean, they're just different strands, and they're all like working in silos, and they've sort of made peace with it. I mean, that is the sad part, I'd say.
So yeah, I think I will just give it very interesting. So we had so many plans. You
Hmm.
go to at least in tier 2, tier 3 cities, we have city action plan. There will be a not there will be a heat action plan. There will be a climate action
Yes.
plan.
So
There is
so
a
when I say Delhi master plan, it is just one plan. Okay. So the metro has its own planning. We talk about TOD, but I mean, the land use plan is not, part of the transportation plan. We have climate action plan, we have heat action plan, we have pollution action plans. There are 2, 3 pollution action plans, But so how do we bring all these things together? Because ultimately, it's, I mean, all these things are linked. You fix one thing, it'll have an impact on the other thing. I mean, a lot of road digging and all we talk about is directly linked to air pollution, and there are funds available, under the national climate air pollution, NCAPP. Yeah, there are funds available for paving roads and all, but there's nobody really to, put all this together and say,
together
okay,
at
this
the
is what we are going to do. And we are very happy working in silos. We love pilots. So ideally, I mean, as city administration, we should have a bird's eye view, but we have a tunnel view. So we're only looking at what we need to do. मुझे ये सड़क बनानी है, so I'll make that सड़क. आगे का रोड जो होगा वो pave हुआ कि नहीं, nobody is going to bother. This, I mean, multiplicity of authorities is not a new thing in India. I mean, this is something I've grown up talking around. It's like my entire career has gone writing about it. But till now, there is no solution.
I think, do you think? I think the local action plan where kind of everything comes together, and somebody is
Yes.
thinking about it and somebody is answerable to accountable for it. Is this something? And even the uh, all the different projects and everything that are schemes are there. That is there to serve the local action plan, not otherwise. Where
Yes,
uh,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
with that, I will come to you, Mr. Sinha. How do you see how do we bring convergence on some of the issues itself? Because too many plans, too many projects, all our engineers are going and chasing those projects. Cities are right now, we have a major urban scheme, that is new scheme. Now cities are scrambling. How can I get more money? So that's the objective, not how can I improve the service kind of services in my city. These are both different objectives and require very different way of thinking itself. What you have seen from your experience, what some practical advices to get this done? Because we know about solutions, we know about the problems to certain extent about solutions, but how do we move towards that direction? And coming from your experience of gram panchayats and GPDP and other as well, over to you.
I think Shivani's put the issues very well. The multiplicity of authorities, it's a problem in a large number of urban areas. Having said that, if I were to uh, look at the experience across urban spaces in the country, there is a situation in many of them where those who have the responsibility, which is the municipal authority, don't have the resources. And those who have the resources, the urban development authorities, don't have those responsibilities. Now, otherwise, if you look at the 12th schedule and the 18 sectors, I think to be impactful and governance wise and financing wise, effectiveness wise, efficiency wise, many of the institutions, say public health, if I could just mention as one of them, public health is a responsibility which municipal governments hand tackle. But their preparedness for public health, public health is a whole vast stream which is very critical. We've seen it in COVID, we've seen it otherwise in many other challenges to health. So I think public health is essentially preparing a society to face up to a lot of challenges, whether it is of different types of illnesses, whether it is of different types of lack of well-being. And, I think from challenges of pollution or air and health to problems with regard to workplace, problems of industry and workplace, so many issues can be there, clean drinking water, disposal of waste, all of which do affect lives. So I think I would again, looking at, while there have been some very glorious efforts made in many places. In fact, on this point about resources and responsibilities, in the case of Gujarat, I know that for many years, the municipal commissioner was also the Urban Development Authority CEO, chief executive. Now, combining the two responsibilities, I think is a good idea because, this duality and or multiplicity of governments and governance, I think it does create its own challenges. So perhaps there would be more synergy across the system. And I think the people, our mayor from Kerala, she raised the issue rightly on people's planning. I think, the planning process and getting citizens to contribute to what is happening, I think there should not be powerlessness at that level, So from purely speaking from the perspective of collaboration, citizens need to be empowered for cities to be better. And that can happen only if you have created your arrangements and systems of engaging with community action through your institutional arrangements. If you, it has to be more than just participation in a meeting. It has to be a consensual decision making role. So I think we can move much faster with a similar level of resource if we were to sort out some of these challenges of what I refer to is as fixing the highway. If you can fix the highway, many things can run on that. So I think that is broadly the point that I'd like to make, agreeing completely with what Shivani said and the other suggestions which have been made, that multiplicity of organizations and institutions does create for problems and we need to sort them out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very well said. I think the better, what I am hearing is better finances require and better financial efficiency require better kind of people participation itself. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Kamath, I will jump to you. You have talked about, like you are hearing about citizen participation. What has been your experience? Does signal citizens participation change the kind of the work that gets implemented on the ground as well? What are the kind of pros and cons of the even involving citizens? Have you seen some of those on ground? Do you want to talk about it?
See, the citizen participation is very important when, particularly, I'm talking about urban roads. See, highways and all, there is no requirement of citizen participation. But the basically, see, the property or the road, the citizens are the people who are been using for a years. So, literally speaking, they are the owner of the like the property which they are located. So, the whatever the thing we take, any projects whether government takes up, it is going to impact them. So, their participation is very very important. So when we are doing the Bangalore city, like the major roads, like you can say the CBD area, the first road we took up is the Saint Mark's Road. There was a one hotel was that Saint Mark's in something hotel was there. So they have been so cooperative in the sense initially they put a board, short pain, long gain. They were the first people because initially we faced lot of what you call the because it was the first project in India where the all the utilities, the new utilities, the tender sure concept was first implemented in Bangalore. So the first implementation, everybody was clueless how the things are going to because we are doing a new work, new utilities we are laying with the existing place itself where the existing utilities are live. Without disturbing them, without relocating, we are laying a new line. So the challenges were very new. So we were taking initial days of time because the coordination with the department, different departments. So time was going. But that point of time, yes, the people were losing what you call the patience, everything. But in spite of that, there are some people who supported. But once the road is completed, no, we got a really a good welcome from all the citizens. They were like asking, why don't you do our road? Why don't you do? So after that, no, the tender sure has become like, I think in Bangalore, I think more than 100 kilometers has been completed in under the tender sure. So yes, initial glitch was there, but definitely there was a lot of support from the public because it has to be brought to their notice and they should be made understand that key why this was happening. That is where I feel major lag is happening because people are not aware what is happening. So they feel okay, somebody come dig, and the coordination between the interdepartment agency, it is very very important because as like many people are saying here that yes, some one person will come, they will dig up, and they will not be knowing where to complete, where to stop. The another person will come, he will dig on his thing. That coordination is very very important when it comes to the civic the agency things.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. Sinha, this coming back to you. Right now, we are at juncture where Finance Commission report is out. Almost 10 to 12 state finance commissions reports are out as well. And thanks to 15 Finance Commission, there is some synchronization happening with state finance. Need to at least start thinking about now we know the resource bucket that is available more or less in at least in 10 12 states. People know what is the resource bucket that is available over next 5 years from different, and they also know about their own revenue as well. Do you think it's a good point to at least start somewhere about the local planning and some and if we it's a good area, how do we kind of go about it? How do you kind of convince people to start thinking about it? Some do you want to talk about it?
No, I think, one has to remember that a lot of the decentralized community action that we wish to undertake, nothing happens by itself. It has to be made to happen. And from that perspective, clearly, we have to relook at the institutional mechanisms which are in place. It's a good opportunity when for the next 5 years, there is a finite idea of the resources which are likely to be available. If you were to sort out many of the challenges which have been highlighted over the last 1 hour or so, then I think it's the planning process again for it to be participatory, for it to be some of the institutional spaces have also to realign themselves. Citizens participate when they know that they can be impactful with their decision making. If they feel that nothing is going to happen after this, then it will not work in the same manner. So your ways of working cannot be the same if you engage in people's planning. So I think a campaign at the cutting edge level, restoring the confidence of local communities in a consensual decision making role will go a long way, because there are a lot of challenges in urban areas. We found this, in fact, I'm aware about the work that happened in Kerala. In fact, when she was mentioning about the health infrastructure and all. I'd only say that a similar situation is possible in other states if the multiplicity in urban areas are tackled. And again, I think the point that was made by Shivani also with regard to some of these challenges, Ganesh put it very well, even for urban city roads, how citizens' participation makes a difference. So I think I have no ready answers here except that the processes have to be invested in. You'll need professionals, you'll need cluster level people, you'll need community resource persons. A lot of what has been attempted with the rural livelihood mission, we need to do, because these things, again, I repeat, in urban areas, they'll not happen by themselves. They'll have to be made to happen.
Continuing and building on this conversation about Ms. Shivani, I will come to you on the how do we kind of enable this, and how can citizens do actually? Do you think, as a civic citizens, what should we do to push
I
for
think
this
we
and
need
to
to institutionalize civic participation. We talk about how things are abroad and how smooth they function. One thing we have to understand that all big cities have a concept of city hall, okay, which is an open municipal office where you can go, you can participate, you can seek information. There is also a certain opaqueness in the way our administration functions. So say if it is about a road outside my house, I should have access to the information right from the tendering process. Okay. So we are told when we go, we're told that okay, I mean all the procedures are followed. I'm sure they are, but they should be visible to us. We are told that there is that what defect liability period for each project. If indeed it is so, then under that that arrangement, how many times have potholes been filled? I mean, I should be able to know what kind of penalties have been raised. I should be able to know when the clause is coming to an end. Okay. So these are things which are very important, and that kind of transparency will also, I mean, if this information is available to a citizen, that citizen will be more proactive. Right now, people are just giving up. There's n number of issues, a citizen has to deal with in the I mean, they're not going to sit or chase the municipal officers. And increasingly, we've seen that most of these offices are not open offices anymore. It's just so difficult to access, you know, your local DC. I mean, can you just walk in? No, I don't think so. So, so you need to have, when you talk about digital, transparency and all, I think these are things which need to be institutionalized. Okay. The second thing I would say is, what Mr. Kamath was saying, right? When a road is being laid, it is very important to understand the local ecosystem of that place. Okay. A road is not just a road, not just, pouring tar and whatever, or, a concrete pavement. I mean, we have a very brick and mortar approach to our infrastructure. We have to the contractor who's building it, or the junior engineer who's commissioning work, should know where this road is coming up, what is the footfall, where is it located, what is the water discharge, because a lot of times we're looking at roads but we're not looking at the drainage. Then it turns out that there is whole lot of I mean, like, wastewater flowing, and the road gets corroded within months. So these are things which we need to tie. What kind of footfall, say, what kind of businesses are there on that road, if it's a commercial road. If it is a manufacturing unit, the road will have to have certain durability. So these are things one has to understand, and that is where the local input is required. So if you're building a road, if you're building a pavement, if you're building a flyover, try to speak to people whose life are going to be affected very directly, who living on that side of the road, or who have their businesses there, or who are going to commute on that road. So we don't have that that perspective of the real life perspective. That is something which is totally missing. It's all about brick and mortar and
It's all
finances.
brick and mortar. Yeah, and
Yes.
I think the even the kind of there has been great digitization of the process itself. If a commissioner is able to see what projects are coming and what is the GIS, what is the boundary, all the jazz, if you go to commissioner, oh, we track everything, but they don't put it out, and
They
that's
don't
where
put
are
it
they.
out. Yes, yes.
That's where, and few places they have been started. And I think one thing that I want to and for our kind of all participants as well. So rural India is much ahead in terms of disclosures. You go to eGram Swaraj, I can go to my Panchayat app, I can go to my village, I can see how much money has come from different sources, what's happening with the money, what happened with the project. There are project photos, there are details of what was the contracted amount, what was the tender amount, how what was the final paid amount. I can see everything. In fact, I can rate projects, but we are much farther, at least in the urban areas. I am not sure, except for one or two cities. BBMP does provide data on the kind of on the payments that somebody has to stitch together to know the project, but other places, not sure.
Entire timeline. It's not my job, as a citizen, I may not understand
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
technical aspects, but I should be able to. And with multiplicity of authorities, it becomes even more difficult. I'll tell you about the place where I live. The road outside my house is belongs to PWD. The one behind my house is MCD, and the land where my building is with the LNDO. So
Ellen.
yes, but as a journalist, I may know about it, but uh, you know, uh, is a common man expected to know each and everything about this maze of
There's too much to ask for. There's too
Yes,
much to
yes,
ask
and
for.
when it becomes very complicated, you just give up.
Yeah. And do you really think that meaningful putting this information out in public would
Yes,
kind of
absolutely,
the
absolutely. At
more
least
and
the
more.
RWAs would be
Yeah.
monitoring this. Okay, when the RWA meetings happen, at least RWAs would share it with the members. If I have a serious problem and I decide to take things in my hand, I should have that information as a citizen. Even if I'm not going through my RWA, if I have to get a road fixed, if I have to get some pothole filled, I should know where to go. I should know what is the timeline of this project. So, so these are
Yes,
things which are not there in public domain, and we need that kind of transparency. And only when this is available, people will get more involved.
people got me involved. So what we will do now, we will get some voices from the participants in as well. I think few people have put certain chats as well. So Marin, why don't you kind of invite people and unmute if people want to convey to the kind of discussions, add to the discussions, or raise certain question as well.
But Sharat, do you want to go first?
Hi, myself Sharath. I represent Climate Policy Initiative. So, as a planner and working around the planning plus the policy and the finance aspect of it, one of the key factor would be fail it as like I resonate with all the speakers, all the panelists who talk about it. But when we come to the city level, we talked about a couple of things. If I draw as an key takeaways for me, it's like one is what integration between departments, agencies, like what we talked about, and convening the people, convening with the communities as well as taking up of it. We talked about more of policies. My one thing is like when we try to put it plans, and while we thinking of converting into projects, it the problem is starting from the planning process itself. We plan as a larger ambitious plan for converting any if Calicut to be like in a Barcelona or something like that. We need to think more about like what can be done within the available resources, and more about from the finance first approach. We need to think of like we should think of not just a plans, like more of a projects that can be implemented. Within that, we need to identify who is the agency we need to reach out, which type of finance we will be using it, and which are the agency will be responsible for implementing it, planning, implementing, and delivering or maintaining it. So that finance first approach need to be integrated in the planning process itself. Is the my one suggestion to or my insight to it. So in that we need to start from building the awareness of whoever involved it, from your elected representative, your communities, your engineer who is in the role of it, and who is the agency is going to be implemented. So this is the one point we need to. A second one point is the institutional memory. How we try to document all this learning from different programs and projects has been implemented within the project, within the city, needs to be trying to document it. So all the agencies like Janaagraha is doing really wonderful with such activity across the India. Similarly, some agency of the city level need to be identified and could be helpful for the corporation mayor or officers to document such learnings. Yeah, these
Yeah,
are two.
definitely. I think I remember one of the conversation with one of my colleague had with one MLA and one city, because they said, "Ki, look, there is nothing institutional memory. I come into the office now, I have to kind of figure out, okay, what assets are there? What do we have? Do we have an asset register? Do we know where are like, so there is no record of any kind of how discussions, how decisions were made. There is no knowledge that gets transferred to me when I take the post. So how should I start working now and be mayor of a city or be MLA and of a area? So that's something that's really great that you talked about it. And also, I think the finance first approach. I would say plan and then kind of look for the finance, not the other way around, where finance is there and now I think, oh, what should I do now? And that's the ad hoc approach that we see across the kind of most of the places actually. Yeah. So, Marine, are there more hands
Yes.
raised?
Maybe Sweta, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you
Thanks.
are.
So this is my first meeting. So I'm not very aware if something, the model which I'm going to ask exists in Janaagraha. So a couple of us taxpayers, we always have been thinking, the moment we pay the property tax or any form of tax, do we have a system which puts up the data in the live board and say, see, this has been, if suppose July 31st is the last day to collect all the property tax. So by the August 1st, I should be able to see the amount which has been collected. And once it reaches the hierarchy, we should also know how it is going to get dispersed and everything on the live dashboard. So, do we have something like that already in any of the platforms? If not, can we consider this idea to be taken, friend? Because somewhere I feel once this gets live, once the money is gets hooked up, I think rest of the things must fall in place. And not just the in the live board, not just the tracking the money, but along with it, once they disperse the amount for some project, they need to show up the project details and also the work done, attached everything to that amount allocated. So do we have this dashboard, or can we start working on that? Can I know the inputs from the
Yeah.
panel
Thank you.
members?
Thank you so much, Sweta. I think I will, in interest of time, if some panelist wants to reply to that, and would that be helpful? Uh, Miss Philip, do you want to talk about that? And I can later come on this, whether kind of such things exist in any places.
It depends on the engineer. He can insist that on his dashboard, each engineer, the amount of work that has been done on a particular day, especially in a week, you can select a date or a day where each engineer should report the amount of work done and bill which is being passed or prepared or the amount dispersed. So this kind of a dashboard will really help. Though there is no dashboards used for the public, some of the the officers, they are using it, and it will be in their phone or in their laptop. They are doing it. Some of them are doing by conducting meetings, and thereby each one reports and it down. That way, I have participated in the mayor's room. They used to come, the secretary used to ask, or the superintending engineer used to ask, and each one will come prepared with their, amount of work done, amount of expenditure. Like I have seen that, but it couldn't continue for a longer period. That's a bit. It is possible. I've seen some of the secretaries carrying their phones, and their dashboards would be there in their phones, and they used to tell me, "Ma'am, this is what has happened today." So, like I have seen that. That's done by, but smaller towns like municipalities, not for corporation had. We had. I don't know about the other corporations.
Yeah. So I will just kind of add to what Ms. Philip said. So the capability or the systems to produce this thing, what you asked, Shweta, does exist in few of the cities, not all, and in few of the states only. I think across India, those capability exist in Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Andhra, Kerala, because they have built a base system of where there is a digital accounting, the digital collections of property taxes, even where the monies are going through, each payment is recorded digitally, even the project tracking is happening, which projects are taken, but these things are not in public, and that's where the kind of where I think at least these states where this information already exists, the additional cost of putting it out in the public is not much. You just need to build dashboard. This information sitting is in your kind of data lake somewhere. So yes, in other states, it's a kind of even to get that place is will take time, because all of our work are still in kind of the paper-based registers. And here I will say this is not by design itself, but I think those reforms people haven't uh, pushed on those reforms or haven't worked on those reforms. Yeah. So, Merin, any more people? Do you want to? I think we are near to the close time. Do you have one? We can take one more question or kind of comment.
Chandrasekhar, do you want to ask a question?
Yes. Good afternoon, Prabhat. See, I am from Gibson Financial Services, and we have been part of merchant bankers or lead managers for almost a dozen municipal bond issuances. Couple of quick points. I think I agree with all the panelists and all that stuff. The biggest stumbling block or the hurdle that I see, most of the projects that have been chosen are from top to bottom and not from bottom to top. So there's a massive disconnect. It's all been decided in the capital, state capitals. And what is really required for the respective ULBs have not been shortlisted. I think that's one thing that as a system, it's a systemic failure and we need to look into it. The second, as you rightly point, a lot of funds available and it's going to be a reverse engineering. Rather, it's the process is reverse engineering. People say we have funds, then how do we tie up? What will be from ILFS? What will be from SSM, SBM? And then they shortlist the project. I think that's another area that all the policymakers, citizens, and various stakeholders have to look into it. I think then things would be in a much better shape. So these are two observations I just wanted to make. And as far as these municipal bonds goes, I think they have been overwhelmingly oversubscribed 4 to 5 times pan India, and I think in this FY we could expect another dozen ULBs coming out with municipal bonds, including 1,000 crores from Ahmedabad, BMC, and also from Chennai.
Thank you so much for this comment and suggestion, Mr. Chandrasekhar. So I think what we'll do, I think I will give last word to my panelists. So any one thing that you think we should start pushing for, and you see a change can happen in near term. So I will go, Miss Philip. What will be your suggestion that you start focusing? One thing that you, if you have to prioritize today, what you will prioritize and suggest to us, to us professionals as well.
Yeah. Next time, how to solve this automatic silos. That you can make a discussion point, right? And I do appreciate Janaagraha for having this your first edition on the automatic the physical health, of physical health of the USBs, and you have given such a good topic, which is really happening in most of the places. That's why I'm a bit relieved So then we have to find a solution. Only then this is worth the trouble. And I do congratulate you for that. And we can have more information, more advice or suggestions, written suggestions from different people. And next time when you make it, I think there will be more people to join, and there will be more people mailing to their opinions, though they can't participate directly in the webinar. So that way, Janaagraha is going to do something really worth and advisable for different municipalities to follow. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ms. Kamath, Mr. Kamath, sorry. Yes.
Nothing from, but the meeting was really good that at least we are in a position to understand what are the issues going on. And Bangalore is concerned, yes, now a lot of citizen participation is going on and things are on a better side.
Thank you so much. I think we are all part of ecosystem that needs to work together to
Yes.
get these things done. Miss Shivani, do you have a last word that you want to say on this topic? Where should we get started? There is
I
one
think we
thing
need
that we
to
should.
find a solution to this problem of multiplicity of authorities. And this is where I think the think tanks and the media, we should all engage and have some workable solutions. Okay. I mean, whether it's like verticals that can be created or, special purpose vehicles or whatever, I mean, we should have some concrete plan on what the way out is. And the second thing is that whatever planning, whatever you do, it cannot be top down. It has to be bottom up. So, local area plans. I mean, you can't be telling municipalities on how to make plans and where to make plans, sitting in, a development authority. It should be the other way. So, and
Thank-
citizen participation. Yes.
Thank you so much. I think better finances starts from better citizen participation and better local planning. That's the key takeaway from this. And we need to solve for kind of multiplicity and coordination issues if we want better utilization from our buck. Thank you so much, panelists, for joining today. This was our first start of a series where we want to kind of really go into the bottom of these common issues that we are facing in day-to-day life, and the focus is on finances, but kind of understanding what is the governance issues, what are the other issues in the finances itself. And we realized financing is more than taxation, more than accounting. It's about how this money gets actually kind of spent on ground. That's the focus of the series going to be. Thank you so much for all the participants as well for joining, being there. And next time we will have time for more people to kind of participate and talk as well and share their perspective. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.